Welcome to the Remnant Trust at IPFW. The Remnant Trust is a private foundation located in Jeffersonville, Indiana. They own over 900 first and early edition significant historical works. We're lucky enough to have 53 of those works here on campus, along with 2 of our own from the IPFW Helmke Library. I'm Dr. Pat Ashton. I teach sociology and peace and conflict studies here at IPFW. I've studied these works, taught about them for many years, but I've also recently researched the particular stories behind these books. I'd like to share those with you. Let's take a look together at the Remnant Trust at IPFW. Another theme in our Remnant Trust exhibit is religious revolutions. In this area, we have works that sparked theological revolutions and social revolutions. First work I want to tell you about under religious revolutions is the Hebrew Bible. This is a first edition published in America. It's in 2 volumes, published in Hebrew, which is why the books lie on the table like this, because Hebrew, of course, is read right to left. We often have to come and change the books after people who are used to reading English flip them the other way. This, of course, would be the correct way. The book is written in Hebrew. This is called the Tanakh, which comes from the 3 letters for the 3 sections of this Bible. The Torah, which is the sacred writings, which are the same everywhere for all Jews everywhere. The Nevi'im, which are commentaries on those, and then the Kevutim, which are additional writings. So the TNK results in the name, the Tanakh, given to this Hebrew Bible. So this was the first published in the United States, and obviously there was a market for people who wanted to read their Bible in Hebrew. There obviously was a strong Jewish community that they published this for at that time. We move from Judaism to Christianity. This is the New Testament, which is published under the authority of John Wycliffe. John Wycliffe was one of the Protestant reformers in England. The basic principle of the Protestant Reformation was that people should make their own relationship with God based on their understandings of the moral principles. In order to do this, people had to have access to the Bible. So Martin Luther translated the Bible into German. It was one of the first books printed and widely circulated. John Wycliffe oversaw the translation of the Bible into English. So this is a first edition published in 1731. What's amazing about this is that it has incredible woodcut illustrations throughout it to illustrate the principles. They were carrying over the idea from the Middle Ages that the stained glass windows told stories. And in their New Testament Bible, they wanted to illustrate these stories as well with these fantastic woodcuts. Next, we have the Book of Enoch. This is the oldest book in the collection that we have here, published sometime before 1500. This book is handwritten on sheepskin parchment, hand-lettered, and hand-illustrated, illuminated in red ink as well. Enoch was mentioned in Genesis as the 7th generation descendant of Adam, the great-great-grandfather of Noah, and was said to be a great mystic. In fact, was so in touch with the Word of God that he was taken up to heaven, body and soul, when he died. The Book of Enoch is not accepted by many of the Christian religions today. It's called an apocryphal book of the Bible. But there are many Christian sects and others who find inspiration in the book of Enoch. It's thought that the book of Enoch was written around the time of the Maccabees, Judas Maccabeus, who was revolting against the oppression of the Seleucids from Syria, against the residents, among them the Jews, of the Middle East. And so this book is filled with critiques of injustice and calls to righteousness. One of the most famous quotes is, "Now listen to me, my children, and walk in the way of righteousness, and do not walk in the way of wickedness, for all those who walk in the way of injustice shall perish." This script is called Ge'ez. It's the same script that is used to write Amharic today. Amharic is the national language of Ethiopia. And this book indeed was discovered in Ethiopia. Because of the isolation of Ethiopia, it's believed that this is the closest interpretation to the original Aramaic in which it was first written. Most of the Bible was written in Aramaic. The only thing closer would be the Dead Sea Scrolls, which were discovered in Jordan and actually are written in Aramaic. But this would be the next closest thing to the original writing of the Bible. The Remnant Trust acquired this shortly before our exhibit for $250,000. An extremely valuable, rare book that we're very lucky to have. Next to this we have the Quran, the sacred book of Islam. This looks like a very old book, but as a matter of fact, it's relatively recent. It's 18th century, but obviously it was well used. The sacred book of Islam, this is all handwritten and hand illuminated and illustrated. It's very beautiful. The entire work handwritten in ink and illuminated. Now, the Quran, like the Hebrew Bible, there is only one version of it. For Christianity, there are multiple versions of the Bible. There's the New Jerusalem, the New Century, the King James. But for Judaism and Islam, there is one version and one version only. All versions of the Torah for Jews are exactly identical. All versions of the Quran are exactly identical. Well, how did the Quran come to be written down? Originally, it was meant to be chanted, and is still chanted today in mosques, where imams chant the Quran. They memorize it. There are 144 surahs or chapters in this, and they all start the same way, as an aid to memory, so that one could tell the story. Well, the fourth caliph after Muhammad, to whom the angel Gabriel or Jibril revealed the Quran, the fourth caliph after that was very concerned that the story might change. Different storytellers might put their own spin on it. So he mandated that the Quran be written down so it would never change. And that's the Quran we have today. And it's the same Quran for all Muslims everywhere in the world, no matter where they live. Next to this, we have an English translation of the Quran, published in 1806. Now, for devout Muslims, this is not the Quran. The only sacred book is the book in Arabic, because that is the language that the book was revealed to Muhammad. All other languages are simply commentaries, even if they're literal translations. So this is not a sacred book, an important book, but not a sacred book to devout Muslims. What I find interesting about this book, a publication in America in 1806 of the Quran, and in the front is a set of notes that shows the provenance of the book over time. That is, how it was passed down in a family. These people were not Muslims, but they obviously cherished this book and took great care about how they passed it down in their family. So what this tells me is that educated people in the 19th century America felt it was important to own and understand the Quran, even not being Muslims. An important lesson we could learn for today. The Remnant Trust at IPFW will not go on forever, but the ideas contained in these works most certainly will. I'm Pat Ashton. Thanks for joining me on this tour of the Remnant Trust at IPFW.